Hey there, Mary Sheila here from BioYouth Labs. And today I want to talk about digestion and maybe a few more videos on this topic as well, because digestion is literally the seat to our vitality and our health. And strong digestive fire allows us to break down what we're eating and assimilate to become us and keep everything functioning strong as it should be, like a well-tuned machine. And it really has a big role in longevity, right? If digestive fire works well over time, then we'll have a good, long, healthy life. So it's very important to optimize it. There's lots of ways we can do that, ways we can support digestion. And one of the things that is really important and top of mind for me when it comes to optimal digestion is mindfulness and the power of mindfulness to support things to run and function well. When we are mindful, we're going to be mindful about what we're putting into our body, and we're going to have more appreciation and gratitude for what we're putting in our body, and we're going to have more digestive capabilities. When we're mindful, we're likely chewing well, we're likely eating enough and not too much, and we are probably eating slower and with gratitude and appreciation. And what that does, when we are more mindful, we are accessing the rest and digest, or the parasympathetic nervous system, that is, helps us to break down or gets all of our juices going when we are eating. And that's essential, right, for good digestion. If things aren't getting broken down properly and our juices aren't coming out, then it's windy. Then our digestion is going to be really dry. There's not going to be all that moisture because we essentially have to liquefy our food, right? So I want to share a few things that we could do to be more mindful. And there are things that I've talked about before, but through this lens, I think is really important. One of them is just breathing before a meal, like sitting down, paying attention, creating focus that, wow, I am going to eat this food. I am going to take some deep breaths, which allow my body to get into the rest and digest mode. And I'm going to then nourish myself. We breathe, we get down into the parasympathetic, and we start releasing more juices and digestive enzymes and acids and secretions. And that is like essential. And then the next thing is, we can aid that like liquefaction, that hydration, all the juices by like having a little bit of ginger tea before a meal, like a half an hour before, having ginger tea or any kind of digestive herbal tea. Something warm or room temperature, not necessarily cold. Or we can do digestive bitters, or we can put a little apple cider vinegar in water, and that can aid us as well. The other thing, and this is a big one for me too, is sitting down and eating, and not eating while we're moving around, standing up, driving our car, watching TV, working on the computer, scrolling our phone. I could go on and on, but really, like if we actually sit down and eat. And I do this with myself where I say, okay, Mary Sheila, if you are catching yourself standing up and eating and grazing, right? If you're one of those people that like, I'm a grazer. If you catch yourself doing that, then you have one of three choices. Number one, you can put that food on a plate and go sit down and eat it, right? And eat it with mindfulness. Or you can too say, well, am I even really hungry? And actually just put that food away and wait until you're ready to eat. Or I could say, I'm just going to eat it anyway. Too bad for my little rule. And either way, no matter what, even if I choose, door number 3, I'm still being more mindful that that's a choice that I have. And I might choose to do it differently the next time. So I feel like just having that little dialogue in my head is a win compared to maybe not doing anything about it, never thinking about it, never realizing I'm doing it. Because when I choose to sit down or when I choose to wait, then I'm going to be able to savor that food more, and I'm going to access my digestive juices more. I'm going to be more mindful. I'm not going to be in like more of my fight or flight or my sympathetic nervous system. I'm actually going to be more grounded in my parasympathetic nervous system. So that's a good thing. The other thing is to try to access all of your senses when you have a meal. There's a Michael Pollan quote that says, "The banquet is in the first bite." And I love that quote. It's one of my favorites. And I actually just met Michael Pollan recently. It was kind of cool. He was at the market where I live, sitting eating a sandwich, and I talked to him for a minute, but that's another story. And if you've read any of his books, let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. He's a great writer about food. And one of the things he says, as I just said, is the banquet is in the first bite. So if we can actually like savor with all of our senses, we can see the food, we can smell it, we can feel the temperature, we can taste it, we can really like access our senses and also have gratitude for what we're about to receive, which is like a lot of hard work goes into every single bite, right? From the seed to the tradition of saving seeds, to the animals, to the vegetables, to the farmers, to the truck drivers, to the grocers, to the cooks, to us working hard to earn money to buy food and cook it in our kitchens that we have to, pay for the gas or electricity, right? I mean, there's a lot of hard work if you really think about it. So I just want to say that is important to make sure that we access our senses and really enjoy it. I try to do this a lot with my morning beverage on the first bite or the first sip. I'll go outside and I'll just take it all in. The other day I did that, and it was actually a really warm, like winter morning, and I had to wake up really early for a webinar I was teaching, and I wanted to work on it, and I went outside for my first sip, and I was like, wow, it is so beautiful. It's so warm out. And I ended up sitting outside and working on my stuff outside, and it was such a glorious morning, and there was like all these bird shenanigans all around me flying around. It was just really lovely, and it really lifted my spirits, and it made my whole day really grand because of that. So, you never know what's going to come out of you being and choosing mindfulness. And the last thing I want to just say when it comes to mindfulness is, choosing to be more mindful when we are eating, when we're prepping our food, right? It's like we do all this stuff, sometimes we might just be going through the motions, but when we have a lot more mindfulness, again, bringing that word gratitude in, and then sometimes we also, when we're more, I know when I'm more mindful, then I think about like layering the flavors of what I'm cooking. And suddenly when I sit down to eat, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best I've ever made this. And it just it up levels my experience, and I enjoy my food. And when I'm mindful, I'm likely to eat less. So it all comes together, and that is supportive of our digestive health in general. Those are my mindful eating tips around optimal digestion. I hope they are helpful and nourishing for you. And please share your mindful eating tips around how you celebrate and nourish yourself with food. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for being a part of the community and watching my video. Bye.